in this video, I'm going to tell you my hypothesis of where we're going in the market cycles. Everybody out there thinks that we're extending the market cycles, and I hear a lot of rumors about this big blow off top and into another 4-5 year bear market. I'm going to tell you exactly why they're wrong. Make sure that you watch the very end, because this is a video that you must see. When you're listening to other influencers, charters, they're thinking, oh, this looks eerily close to 2017 and 18. Let me show you history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. Look at this chart. Look how it looks like 2017. Look how December is going to be bullish and then blow off top in January, and then this ultra long bear market. We're all just living in apartments again, or broke, or whatever. Like, I don't think so. I don't think so, because what these people who are knee deep in charts fail to realize is it's nothing like those days. Those days were primitive. It was led by retail FOMO. So we haven't seen a period of time like December 2017 at all this cycle. We haven't, in December 2017, I remember week after week of 20, 30, 40, 100% gains on altcoins day after day, right? Just printing green candles every single day for weeks on end. That was parabolic, scary, blow off top territory. We don't see that, right? A lot of people say that market cycles are getting longer. I think they're getting shorter. I will tell you why after this. Let's dive into it. So, Fidelity, if you don't know who Fidelity is, it's owned by Tiger Management. Tiger Management, one of the largest investment management companies in the entire world, put out this report. Bitcoin to become $100 million by 2035. So it says right here, now the firm is putting out bullish reports on Bitcoin and sees the leading digital asset hitting $1 million before the decade is over, and a whopping $100 million by 2035. Guys, this isn't just one person in Fidelity who owns a bunch of Bitcoin who decided to pump their own bags, right? That would never happen. In a very serious investment firm like Fidelity, there is a whole ton of research analysts who are doing this, and before they put out public information, they have a very good reason that's defensible to them why they would make such a claim. $100 million per Bitcoin by 2035. You don't think that people are reading this? You don't think that people are understanding what the hell is going on? This is absolutely where we are heading. All right, let's just run through some of these other titles. Breaking, Singapore greenlights 2 new institutional grade physical Bitcoin funds. Physical means that it's not just representation. That means that if I put $1 million in this fund, they're going to go buy $1 million of Bitcoin. That is demand, right? $1 trillion investment firm Invesco launches European spot Bitcoin ETP, or exchange traded product. It's basically an ETF. It's basically, and when they say that it's a spot Bitcoin, that means that, again, the same logic before. I put $100 in, they go buy $100 worth of Bitcoin. And this is a $1 trillion investment firm. So we had Fidelity, now we have Invesco, right? This is massive demand for Bitcoin, right? None of this happened in 2017. Okay, now this article, I love their English. Okay, MicroStrategy buys another 7,002 Bitcoin worth 414 million to add to its stockpile. That's right. Right now, MicroStrategy, they're coming up on their million Bitcoin. I just love this. Okay, let's just read this because it's fun. MicroStrategy, the US-based business intelligence firm led by Michael Saylor, hats off to you, Michael Saylor, has added another 7,200 Bitcoin worth approximately 414 million to its kitty. Whatever that means. I guess it's, I don't know if this is, I don't know. But basically, right now they have 121,044 Bitcoin in their kitty. Which is, okay, that's a ton of Bitcoin. There's only 21 million, between 4 and 6 Bitcoin, 4 and 6 million have been lost forever. At the end of the day, that leaves somewhere between, 16 to 17 million on the planet. There's a very small amount. There's something like 55 million millionaires, right? 55 million millionaires. That means that even if every millionaire wanted to buy one Bitcoin, they couldn't do it. It's just not possible. Supply shock, supply shock. Everybody's paying attention. I'm gonna continue to shove that down your throat right now. 3 major banks serious about embracing Bitcoin, right? Morgan Stanley increased exposure to Bitcoin, held 300 million in Grayscale shares. Grayscale also buys Bitcoin. So if Morgan Stanley, another massive investment bank, puts in $300 million into Grayscale, guess what? They go buy $300 million worth of Bitcoin. Why is this? Why do they have to do that? Well, because if the institution didn't put the money and buy Bitcoin, there's too much volatility, right? So if Bitcoin shot up 10x, the Grayscale would be out of luck because they didn't have that appreciating assets, right? So, of course, El Salvador, we all know, big props to the El Jefe over there, president. The guy is a G. I think he's like 35 years old or something, just making waves across the world. Genius, brilliance. But the point is that we have countries adopting this. Countries adopting Bitcoin. Again, increased demand. None of this happened in 2017. How are you charters, you technical analysts, drawing a comparison to 2017 to 2021? Tell me what your logic is, because if you just draw lines on a chart, you're missing the most important part of the picture. All right, let's move on. 8 banking giants embracing Bitcoin and blockchain tech. 8 banking giants. BNP Paribas, SocGen, Citibank, UBS, Barclays, Goldman Sachs, Banco Santander, and Standard Chartered. These are massive banks. Massive. This is huge. Australia's Rest Super Retirement Fund to invest in crypto for its 1.8 million members. Rest Super is the 9th largest retirement fund in Australia. It has about almost 10% of the population is involved in this retirement fund. It's the equivalent of the 401k in the United States. It is mandatory for every employee to be part of this retirement fund, which means that 10% of all Australians have exposure to cryptocurrency through the retirement fund. This is massive. There is $46.8 billion of assets in this retirement fund. You don't think that the other retirement funds in Australia are going to be paying attention? You don't think that the other retirement funds in the United States are going to be paying attention? Let's look at this chart. US housing prices becoming unaffordable. Absolutely. Look at this spike in prices this year. Your salary, your wage did not go up this much this year, right? If you go to your boss and say, hey, boss, I need a 20% increase in salary, they're gonna tell you, man, I can't afford it, and you haven't worked here long enough. Sorry, you're out of luck, which means that your rent goes up, your mortgage goes up, your food goes up, but your salary stays the same. That's not sustainable. These things have to come back down, which goes back to my point that smart money, what are they going to do? They need to put their money somewhere stable. Let's talk about gold. Does gold make sense? Let's see. Well, nope, gold doesn't make sense. Here's the price of gold over the past 10 years. This is a 10-year chart. Here, 10 years ago, you've got the price of gold at 1,782.5. Now it's 1,778. The price is actually lower today in gold than it was 10 years ago. And if you invested 10 years ago, look at, you pretty much made nothing. No, you did make nothing. In fact, today you would have lost a little bit. So gold is it's also not a good investment. So where are you going to put your funds? You're not going to put your funds in real estate because the prices can't go up anymore because no one can afford them. You're not going to put your funds in equities because they're overinflated to hell. We've got this new COVID variant. I don't even know what it's called because I don't pay attention. I just know that everyone's freaking out about it. So that means the economy is probably going to crumble, which means the Fed is also going to print more and more money. Money printer go burr, right? So we have inflation. We have the equities markets propped up on money printing. Everyone knows it's bullshit. Everybody knows it's bullshit. Nobody cares because they're making money hand over fist in equities. But that is not sustainable. People who are smart understand you cannot sustain that. So what would a smart investor do? They would basically take profits and put them in a stable, sound money, deflationary type of cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, like everybody else is doing. Here we go. Typical home prices are up 13% this year. Again, did your salary go up? Nope, but your spending power did. So if you're keeping your money in dollars from your salary, not only do you have to try to compete against increasing prices or increasing rents, as this article also talks about, but you also have to deal with decreasing purchasing power in the US dollar. Let's look at consumer food prices. Consumer food prices in August 2020 is up. In 1 year, you're seeing this increase from 6.89 cents to 9.76 cents for a ribeye steak. Coming into the point I'm trying to make of everything, I've got one hypothesis, And well, it could actually veer into two possibilities. But let's take a look at 2021, for example. So we had, like 2020 was quite slow, right? Quite slow. And then we started to break through in January and started to come up, and we went into this very, very bullish market. But then what happened? Then we had this crash back in May. And then we had a bear market all the way up until July. And then we have a bull market, right? And now we're in a bull market. So in this year alone, we've seen 3 market cycles. We've seen bull, bear, bull. That's in 1 year. 3 market cycles in 1 year. Who knows? We could enter bearish story tomorrow. I don't think we're going to, but it might happen. So here's what I think is happening. I think that we're in the midst of massive, massive adoption. If that isn't abundantly clear to you out of everything I've shown you, go back and start looking at charts again and drawing lines on them and see what that does for you. But I'm trying to get you to understand where we're headed, right? If you're a short-term trader, sure, go look at charts, whatever. But if you're in this for the long run and you believe that we're headed for mainstream adoption, which I think I've demonstrated that to you pretty loud and clear, where are we going? We are going into what I believe to be a super cycle. It's like a game of musical chairs, right? Like, it's not really a big deal at first. It's quite easy to find yourself a chair, but as it gets down lower and lower chairs, it's a fight for that last one. It is a supply shock. People are going to realize just how good of a monetary system Bitcoin is, and that's really the only sound money that exists in the world today. I think we will have corrections along the way, and I'm happy for that, because the more parabolic growth that we get, days after weeks leads to unsustainability with bigger corrections. But like I said again, we haven't had these weeks of growth. We haven't really seen any parabolic growth like we did in 2017. It is a different market entirely. All right, guys, so you might be asking me, Kyle, what does this all mean? How do I process this? What do I do with my investment strategy? Well, first of all, I'm not an investment advisor. Do your own research. I'm just sharing with you my hypothesis of where we are and where we're going. And this comes from someone who has been in the space for 10 years, has seen market cycles, bulls, bears, all this stuff, and has built an investment thesis around this hypothesis. So what am I doing in this cycle? Well, I have made a lot of different investments, and my Bitcoin, I'm not touching, right? Because at $100 million a Bitcoin in 2035, which is probably where it's headed, I'm good, right? You just need one. So go make sure that you can do whatever you can to get one Bitcoin. So what would you do? So buying one Bitcoin right now might not be achievable for you. It's a high barrier to entry. It's almost $60,000. But if you continue to watch my channel, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell notification, and pay attention, because I'm going to continue to drop projects to you that can do 10, 20, 30, 50, 100, 500x. And if you get involved in these, all you have to do is put $1,000 in, and if that does a 60x, you can go buy yourself a Bitcoin. Would I encourage you to take all that money out and go buy Bitcoin? No, take half of it out, take some money back for your next investment, and put some money, maybe go buy a third of a Bitcoin, put 20K into it. That's what I would do. So we're going through these different cycles, and there's going to be corrections along the way, but in my opinion, I would not exit the market in like the end of January preparing for a bear cycle. I don't think it's going to come. Guys, let me know in the comments below what you think of this video, what you think the market cycles will look like, and also let me know what other videos you'd like to see. I got to run, guys. I'm very busy today. I've got calls to take. Thank you for tuning in. I will catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.